Morning everyone, welcome back to Dev Parkour. I'm Brian Parks, and in this video I want to talk about the different places that you could host a project like the one I'm doing. So if you haven't been following the channel, I've been working on a old piece of PHP code that I thought was cool enough to kind of bring into the modern world, trying to make it cloud native, scalable, maintainable, all that good stuff. So be sure to subscribe and like this video, go back and watch previous videos to get some more context if you want. But specifically, I do want to talk, not just about that project, but any project that you might be doing. And regardless of whether it's in PHP, really. Because you've got tons of choices when it comes to hosting providers. And there's a wide range on the kind of the what I'll call the low end, and that's by no means a slight. It might be right for what you're doing. You have kind of the the hosted PHP solutions sort of thing, and I would lump things like Heroku into those bins. Basically, you have a stack and you pay for the stack. It's like Stack as a service. It's not software as a service, but it's also not quite infrastructure as a service. It's there's a little bit more there. It's a little bit more managed. So you can just upload your Ruby app, PHP app, whatever, into something like Heroku, or another popular one is DreamHost for PHP. So they've since gotten into the VPS world as well. So they're kind of a hybrid. And you just upload your app and then it runs. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have something like, AWS, or the big cloud providers, and there are 5 of them. So there's AWS, they've been the #1 spot for a long time. Azure, Google Cloud Platform, GCP, and then Oracle has something called OCI, I think, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And then IBM has something similar. I forget what theirs is called. But they're all very, very similar offerings, obviously with their own flair to it. So Microsoft's UI is very polished, but I think some of the stability tends to suffer. I've had a couple issues with Azure. Not to say that AWS doesn't have issues, but AWS definitely seems to focus more on functionality first, and then the UI has kind of caught up. It's improved drastically over the last 10 years, but it seemed to have been designed with functionality first and foremost, and then with the UI on top of it. So in addition to that, you have the standard managed services. All of them provide some way of running a database, some way of running a VM in the cloud, some form of storage, various other data processing pipelines. But then AWS has lots of machine learning stuff built on top of it, and very specific services. I think they're up to close to 200 different services now. Azure is probably in second place with the number of services they provide. They also have some machine learning stuff and things like that. But again, nowhere near the size and scale that AWS is at. And then the others are, aside from Google Cloud Platform, its advantage is that if you're using a bunch of other Google services, you have really quick integration points to those things, and they're really good at kind of the big data aspect of things. Oracle and IBM, at least in my experience, which is very tiny, I haven't used them all that much, if at all, is they're just a step beyond just your standard VPS provider, but they do provide still the managed services like SQL databases and that sort of thing. A step down from that, you have your standard VPS providers. So the 2 that I'm going to mention of many options out there are DigitalOcean and Linode. Linode is one that I've been using for about 10, 11 years now, quite a long time. They're a great company. They've come a long way as well. They started just doing Linux VPMs, Linux via, what am I trying to say? Linux VPSs. Yeah, so they started doing just Linux virtual private servers. And then over the last several years, they've added a lot of other managed services. So they have not only monitoring into your VPSs, but also you can do a database, you can do Kubernetes, you can do, kind of all of the basic things that you'd actually expect from one of the bigger players. So that's pretty cool to see. And same with DigitalOcean. I long heard of DigitalOcean, but not used DigitalOcean for a long, long time. But they also have an interesting offering. And if you're just using kind of those basic components, compute, database, file storage, load balancing, blob storage, Kubernetes, kind of those basic infrastructure as a service tools. DigitalOcean is a very compelling option. And the main thing for me, anyway, and one of the things that they promote heavily on their site is that this I think the same goes for Linode as well. But it's predictable billing. So whereas AWS is by the hour, and that's great if you need to spin up, ephemeral instances, maybe for only a few hours, or you need to scale and be able to, have this ever-changing cluster of resources. That's great. AWS is great because you only pay for what you use. However, if you know that you're going to need X amount of resources for a month, 2 months, several months, potentially indefinitely, something like DigitalOcean might be really compelling from a kind of a budgeting standpoint. So you can look at their cost model and say, for this machine, I know I can spend $10 a month, and I have it. I don't have to worry about, does that month have 30 days, 31 days, 28, 29. It's always going to be $10 a month. I'm always going to be paying $10 a month. And then their load balancers have a similar pricing model. Databases have a similar pricing model. It's all very clear, cut and dry, easy to budget for. But again, it's by month. So I don't remember if when I was looking into this, if you have the flexibility, like if you only used a VPS for half a month, do you get prorated or something like that? I don't remember. But for this project, I'm looking specifically for something that I can have turned on theoretically indefinitely. So from my perspective, something like Linode and DigitalOcean works really well. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Now the question is, Linode or DigitalOcean? I'm already using Linode. I really like Linode for what I'm using it for. And for this project, Linode is still a compelling option, even if, back when I started using Linode, it was very stripped down, very simple. And I think for this project, what Linode was back then would probably not be the best fit. Linode now does have a lot more features. It does have a lot better integration with, it's got an API and that sort of thing. So it might be a very compelling thing. However, I've never used DigitalOcean before. I've heard great things about it. Did some research on it, and it looks fantastic. Looks like exactly what I'm looking for. And because I've never used it before, that's what I'm going to use for this project. Specifically because this is an experimental project. This is for my YouTube channel. And I feel like, why not share with you something that is totally brand new to me, something that I've never used before, so that you can get that experience as well. This video is not sponsored in any way by any of the products that I mentioned. However, because I'm using DigitalOcean, I will leave an affiliate link to DigitalOcean down in the description below. if you decide to sign up for DigitalOcean, I think you get $100 credit for the first 60 days that you use it if you use the link in the description. It's nothing fancy. It's just an affiliate link. You get the same DigitalOcean experience that anyone else would. You just get a little bit of free money, essentially, free credit. So go ahead and check that out. And again, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. If you like what I'm doing with the channel, please subscribe. I'm oh so close to hitting that next milestone, and I'd love to get there and be able to provide even better content for all of you. So go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. I need more coffee today. Thumbs up button, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, click that notification bell, leave a comment down below if you've got comments, questions, other things, want to see other topics in future videos. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully with more coffee.